Some stories are so terrifying they stick with you long after you hear them. Tonight we're bringing you 3 extremely scary true horror stories that will send chills down your spine. These are real accounts of people who faced the unexplainable and lived to tell the tale. Are you ready? Story 1. The Watcher in the Attic. Our first story takes place in a small suburban home. A young woman, home alone for the weekend, started hearing strange noises coming from the attic, soft footsteps, and the occasional sound of something being dragged. At first, she thought it was just the house settling, but the noises grew louder and more deliberate. When she finally worked up the courage to check, she found the attic door slightly ajar. She was sure she hadn't opened it. Upstairs, she found nothing but dust and old boxes. Relieved, she locked the attic door and went back downstairs. But later that night, she woke up to the sound of heavy breathing coming from the ceiling above her bed. She called the police, and when they arrived, they found signs of someone living in the attic: an old sleeping bag, food wrappers, and a notebook filled with chilling entries about watching her. Whoever it was had escaped through a small window and was never found. Story 2. The Vanishing Hitchhiker. Our second story comes from a truck driver traveling a deserted road late at night. He spotted a young woman standing by the side of the road, her pale dress glowing in the moonlight. She looked lost, so he pulled over to help. She thanked him and gave him an address a few miles ahead. She was quiet during the drive, staring out the window. But when he glanced at her reflection in the rearview mirror, she wasn't there. Confused and terrified, he continued to the address she had given him. When he arrived, an elderly woman answered the door. He explained what had happened, and her face turned pale. She told him the girl he described was her daughter, who had died in an accident on that very road 10 years ago. Story 3. The Haunted Cabin. Our final story takes place in a cabin deep in the woods. A group of friends rented it for a weekend getaway, excited to disconnect from the world. But from the moment they arrived, strange things started happening. They noticed footprints in the snow leading to the cabin, but none leading away. Inside, they found scratches on the walls and a journal left behind by the previous guest, warning them not to stay past midnight. Thinking it was just a prank, they ignored the warning. But as night fell, the power went out, and the cabin was plunged into darkness. One of them went outside to check the generator but didn't come back. They found his flashlight near the woods, but no sign of him. Then they heard faint whispers, voices calling their names from the trees. Terrified, they locked themselves inside and waited until dawn. When the police searched the area, they found no trace of their missing friend. To this day, no one knows what happened to him, but locals say the woods surrounding the cabin are cursed. These are just 3 of the many true horror stories that remind us the world is full of mysteries, some better left unexplored. Whether it's a stranger in the attic, a ghostly passenger, or a shadow in the woods, these tales prove that sometimes fear is closer than we think. Which story scared you the most? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more terrifying tales. And remember, sometimes the scariest things aren't the ones you can see.